Hello and welcome to the Coaching Mixer podcast with Erin and Elana. We're drinking today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last episode drove us back to drinking. No, not really.
Seriously, after everything that we talked about last time, I was like, I'm nervous to actually drink a cocktail with you. You get things out of me that I'm not ever planning to share. So I'm terrified about what we'll talk about.
Oh, no. You do have editing powers, so.
We're going to keep it real.
It's real. We get real here on this here podcast.
And I think, we had talked a few weeks ago about some different things. And thank you to people who are reaching out with ideas for us, with things that you want us to talk about. We also will take cocktail recipes.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What have you got today?
Ooh, so there's a cocktail called the Bee's Knees, which is, are you familiar?
No, but it sounds amazing.
So we're drinking gin today. And my drink is gin and lemon juice, and then a honey syrup, which I just mixed honey with warm water. And that's it. And then I had fresh blueberries in my fridge, and I can't resist a fresh fruit in a cocktail, so I just squished them up and put them in, which it's tasty, but blueberries look kind of gross when you squish them up. I didn't realize. So
I like it. I think it looks like a sciencey potion kind of thing. I like the
little murky and slimy looking, but it's delicious.
I love it.
What are you drinking today?
Okay, I'm so glad I didn't go with my basic because I am such a gin and tonic person. I was like, oh, that's so boring if I just bring a gin and tonic. But this is like my basic bitch Aperol spritz. This is, instead of Prosecco, it's gin because I don't have Prosecco. And this is it's not Aperol. It's called Allura Aperitif Royale, which is from a local distillery, kind of local to me, that does spins on more commercially made things. So this is a little local goodness. And I put some tonic water in it because I do love a gin and tonic. So it's a gin and tonic with Aperol-esque booze.
That sounds amazing.
Yes. Booze on booze on booze.
Booze on booze. Yeah, I have only drunk 3 sips of this so far, and I think it's pretty strong. So we'll have an interesting episode. Cheers.
My nails look so crazy for people watching the video.
I
had meant to. Oh, that one doesn't look so bad.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Salem last week, so I wanted to have magical looking nails. But I'm also really bad at redoing them and taking them off and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, they look great.
Apologies,
and from this distance, that I thought you had
stuff
at the tips. So
no, it's just peeled. It's just peeled nail polish.
We're real fancy here.
Yeah, real fancy. Okay, so the gloves are coming off today. We're going to have very controversial conversation. We're going to talk about AI. And as it pertains to business, because I think people have very strong feelings. I have very strong feelings. My feelings about AI have changed a lot since it all came out. I know you and I have different opinions. So we're going to drink our gin and fight about it.
Oh, amazing. I feel like it might be a little underwhelming. My opinions might not be as strong as you're making them out to be. But okay, so what are your thoughts on AI and business? Where are you at with it?
So when it first kind of started to be the big trending thing, I really hated it. I was like, ugh, this is it's terrible. It's churning out just garbage, and we have enough garbage in the world. And I also really felt strongly about artists who were feeling like their work was in jeopardy. There's been things where writers, I mean, I'm a writer. I have several books. Those books were being uploaded illegally into databases and like basically stealing work. So I don't like that. I think that's terrible. I know that there's a lot of debate about the environmental impact about AI, which some people say is overblown, and that people talk about how it's like killing the planet without actually following through with the sources that are saying that. Like sometimes it's just somebody on TikTok who wants a lot of views and is making some claims that we don't maybe have all the information on. But, I consider myself an Earth lover. So I was very not into it at first. What about
and then?
Oh, you want to hear I want to hear where you're at.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm basically like a 19th century technophobic woman in the body of a 40-year-old woman. So I would say I feel pretty like, just personally, like, get it away from me when there's some big new technology. So like on a personal level, I'm kind of like, why? And I know there are reasons for it, and I know there are business reasons for it, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I do think like I see a lot of people like outsourcing a lot of the creative process that gives me life to AI. And I think like, why? Like, what's the point? Which is kind of interesting. Like, I think AI is raising really interesting questions about the creative process, and like why we do it and why we're compelled to create and what creating actually means. But personally, I haven't found a compelling reason to like integrate AI into my everyday life on a personal level or a business level. Also, I echo all of the like ecological concerns that you raised, as well as the societal concerns in terms of like people's jobs being taken over, which to some degree we can separate from the question of AI, but to another degree we live in the world, and it doesn't seem like, at least in the US, the government is like thinking about how to protect jobs, and I don't necessarily have a lot of trust in that. So I have some concerns when it comes to that, as well as, the plagiarism of artists' work to feed the algorithms. So that, I will say, that was like sort of my starting point.
Yeah.
I feel like a big hypocrite because actually in the last like 2 weeks, I was searching for a way to get YouTube videos, to make like social media clips from YouTube videos for this podcast.
Yes.
And I landed on a software that I didn't understand like what it was exactly, but it like took the YouTube video and spat out a clip that I could use on social media. So like I'm actually kind of now like,
yes.
Okay. I mean, I can see I'm like maybe coming around, but also all of the previous concerns are still there. So that's sort of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we're not going to fight about it because that's like, I think that's all super fair. And what's really kind of interesting is I think the first couple of years, it was just so bad. And there were people really like trying to sell how great it was, but there were not a lot of like really useful, intuitive tools. You still had to be a computer programmer to get anything but nonsense from any AI tool.
Right.
But where I'm kind of at with it right now is, a big argument that I will sometimes get when I offer it as a potential supportive tool for a business owner who wants to have a lean team, who maybe doesn't have a huge budget to hire, copywriters or a social media manager or someone to go through our long drunken conversation and pick out some gold. Not everybody like has those resources. And I think that something that when I started my business, it was just such a constant learning curve that I understood why most people quit within the first 6 months to a year. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's a great marketer. Not everybody's a great copywriter. Most people don't want to sit and review their own content. And until those tools kind of started to get better, I was just like, no, I'm out. My lovely husband, it's so funny because I grew up on Star Trek. So normally with tech things, I'm like, beam me up. When can I get a tricorder? When can I be healed with a little
So we're opposites in that sense.
Like I would like get me on a starship. I would be right there. Mm-hmm. But it really took Steve actually doing an experiment with me where he uploaded our entire book into a closed loop system that does not write it back to the general public. Because I was like, darn this, I'm not feeding the bot. I don't feed the machine. And he started training it to help me get some like rough draft ideas for social media content that we could pull things from the book and turn it into like a nice little pithy thing that I could stick on Instagram. And starting to work with that and train it, I realized that it actually was teaching me how to give really direct and specific feedback, which is something I think a lot of business owners struggle with, and why sometimes the humans that they hire can't deliver according to their expectations. Because if you're like, hey, social media manager, I just don't like this post. That's not feedback that someone can use.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it like taught you how to manage.
It taught me a lot about how to be more direct. I mean, I think I'm pretty clear. I think I have pretty good communication skills. But when there's another person where you're like, I mean, we all humans do this. If I think to myself, ooh, this is way too fluffy, or ugh, this is used the word transformation like 5 times. Blah, like this is so cliche. I couldn't just say that to some really nice new social media person on my team. I would have to like position it and try to find out how they're going to receive it. Like I would do all of this behind the scenes mind drama to try to convey what I really wanted to say, which is tighten this up. Don't use cliche words. Speak to the client. Don't speak like a coach. But I can say that to AI. And it will just give me another draft, which will help me give it better feedback. And
that's so interesting.
Yeah. And so I started kind of playing with this. I was like, still like, I don't know. Now that I'm writing another book, having that as a tool to not have to spend hours writing copy, writing content, to have just sort of like a thinking partner on my team who gets it and will give me something instantly and revises without drama. They cost $20 a month because it's just whatever the subscription to the service is. It helps me invest in higher quality training for myself because I don't have to pay a salary of someone to do that for me. It helps me invest more time into my book projects and my kind of deeper thinking. So I hear the argument that people are really concerned that we're losing our ability to think if we outsource that thinking to AI. But I've actually experienced, at least personally, I can't speak for everyone, but I've experienced that it's helped me externalize things that I would just stew on for days and days and days, and actually get feedback and have a conversation and make things that were just kind of running on in the background much more explicit, much more immediate. I can have an idea and I can say, how could I say this through the lens of one of my Superabound tools? And it will give me 10 ideas that function as a really good jumping off point for deeper creative processes. Even when I hate it, even when I'm like, well, that is stupid, or I disagree with that, that gives me kind of like a creative position to work with. I still wouldn't listen to AI written music.
Huh.
Still don't think it like, I don't think I would be buying AI generated art. I still
Like, is that as a principle or because you don't think it's good enough?
I don't think it's good enough. And I just think that I'm not using AI to replace something that I would normally pay someone else for. I'm using AI to replace myself because I've never found a social media manager who was like good enough to keep forever.
That's so interesting.
You know, like it's actually reduced my mental load within my personal life, within my business. It's given me back so much more time. But not because I'm having it do things that replace me. Like I would never spam people. Like I know this is my annoyance with AI is people who are like, I'm going to create an AI bot to like slide into people's DMs and ask them a very personal question about how much money they make or how their business is doing. That I'm not down with. I hope that we can use these kinds of tools to give us back more time to do the human stuff better.
I'm having such an interesting experience right now. There's like a huge cognitive dissonance that I'm experiencing that like, on the one hand, I'm like this vision or it's not a vision, it's like a reality that you've created of your relationship with AI is in some ways like the dream creative experience. Like it's like, I mean, I often envision it as externalized with another person or a group of people, but it's like being able to share ideas freely, to experiment with things, to throw out ideas that don't land without like a lot of angst about it. And the idea the experience of being able to like hone the things that you're really good at and outsource the things that you're not. So on one level, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds like a utopia. That sounds amazing. And then and like this might be too philosophical for a coaching podcast, but I'm like, are we, because like I hear you that you haven't found a social media manager who you're able to develop this relationship with, but are we trying to like replace relationships that we could like build or foster that are going to be messier and maybe like a little more complicated? Are we trying to replace that with a robot? Like, is that okay? If we are, I don't know.
I mean, I don't have an answer. I think it is. I think it's not too philosophical. I think it's a really good point. I know that like just for my personal business, it's the last thing I like really want to invest time and money into. Yeah. I just want to like, for a while I was like, oh yeah, no, the dream is to have the social media assistant who, when people send me a DM, they're like, oh, hi, this is Erin's team and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, actually, I just want people to be able to reach out and know they're talking to me. I don't want like an intermediary. I actually think it's provided me more space and time to connect with people. So I totally, and I have friends who are social media managers and who like do amazing work, and they work with people at a level where I think that there is no AI that can do what they do.
Yeah.
What I think is happening, and where I think a lot of people do feel some of the push-pull, is AI can do pretty well. So that means we as humans, and maybe we'll talk about this one because this is another new trend.
AI as coach or
AI
therapist?
As coach or therapist.
Yeah.
I know so many people who no longer have a therapist, no longer have a coach, because they have developed a relationship. And on some level, I'm like, yeah, this is, 100% that you will not be judged. You will not deal with another human's bias or what they think you should do or who they think you should be. You have a space that is very safe that you can engage with at any moment of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I think it means I'm like, I don't get scared about that. I'm like, that means that the human experience that I have with someone has to be exceptional.
Yeah. I get a little bit scared of that.
Do you? Oh my gosh.
A little bit. Not threatened. Like not necessarily threatened.
Not you. You're amazing.
But a little bit. Oh. I don't know how I feel about it because I think a lot of people are craving emotional validation, and I think like they're like almost like a vitamin deficiency. I think a lot of us are vitamin deficient in emotional validation.
Ooh,
and I also think a lot of coaches are not skilled at offering emotional validation while also empowering the client to change their thought patterns. That's a whole other tangent. But so I think on the one hand, yeah, like it's good that there are outlets for people to get that. And I think part of the value, actually like most of the value of a therapeutic or coaching relationship is in the like human to human connection that you build over time, and like the rupture and repair that you experience within a connection. Like I think that's what helps people heal from traumatic experiences. It's what helps them understand what change looks like. It's what brings like more meaning to relationships. Yeah. So I do worry about the like engaging with an AI that's like validation without human connection and the messiness that comes from that. And like that's a little scary to me, to be honest.
Yeah. I hear you. You know, and it's interesting too, because Steve was like, are you ever afraid you're going to get replaced? And I'm like, there's just so much. I think people do also crave human connection. And
yeah,
like there is something really special about having a place where your like nervous system can land. And AI cannot do that at this point. Maybe someday we will feel like deep resonance, or maybe people are already feeling it. I don't know. I have not gone down that rabbit hole because I really feel like the co-regulation and the resonance with another person is part of it, to your point, like even the rupture and repair. Also, my thought about it, and I don't even know if this is true, but it's the thought that I have, and so it's the one I'm picking for now, is that at least from what we do as, like for you as a creative coach, for me as a business coach, AI can only give you what it's already got. It cannot innovate. Like it can take in someone's whole business model and it can give you a playbook based on what else is out there that's already been done. What it can't do is say, this is a possibility for your business. Here's my intuitive hit on what we could explore here. Or like, I notice you're saying these things, but your facial expression or your mannerisms are giving me a different energy. Like it can't read the person. It can't sense energy. It can't get intuition, and it can't innovate in that specific creative way yet. So I still think there's room for coaches and I think there's room for consultants and all of that. But I do think it requires like us to just be better.
Yeah.
It means we can't just be like, oh, I learned this one tool that now there's an AI program that can deliver this tool to clients for a fraction of the price, which I think is also great. I'm like, it's more accessible. There's a lot of people who cannot afford therapy and cannot afford coaching that can get something from ChatGPT. I'm like, more power to them. And that's healing. And that can be amazing as an entry. It's better than nothing. But But I think for those of us who want to carve out a business and maybe are competing in some ways with AI now, I think it's like, ooh, we have to be really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think I agree with you in that, like, I think there will always be a market for coaching because people are always going to be yearning for connection. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's ever gonna stop.
Yeah.
And I don't think AI will, at least how I can conceive of it, I don't see that replacing human to human connection. I
guess we'll see in 5 years. We'll be like, oh, actually,
we'll see.
There's AI.
Who knows? Yeah. And like, there is a part of me that's like, in a vacuum with like a different political landscape, I could conceive of a world in which it's like, let's collaborate fully with AI. Let's see what it can do and what it can't do. Let's take care of like human needs and then focus on that. I know we do not live in that world. So it is an interesting idea. And this idea of like coaches needing to get better, I think in my mind, like what getting better means is like being radically present with the clients, like the rote questions that we learned in training.
Flossing your teeth isn't going to fly.
Flossing your teeth isn't going to fly. Oh my God.
Can't get away because of it anymore.
10 years ago, totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just had to change our thoughts about it as Clay.
Right. Oh my God.